she's crying into, oh, this is sad. Finally, it's happening. The thing we've all been waiting for, at least me, Cinder's backstory. Oh my god. Right off the bat, I do want to say something. This episode is good. This is a very good episode. I have no problems with the writing of this episode, but I do have problems with the directing of this episode. It's just certain things here and there. Like, it's just a little sloppy feeling. Like, some of the animations are like a little like janky looking, or like kind of not very professional looking. And like some shots, I wish we would have been slower, maybe bigger gaps between dialogue. Some shots I wish we were closer to their faces. Some shots I wish we were farther away. It's a good episode, but it feels a little sloppy in execution. I don't know if it was rushed, or if it was just, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just a personal thing for me. Also, another thing is, even though this is the backstory I've been waiting for forever, it didn't necessarily tell me everything I wanted to know. Because it's nice seeing my suspicions have been confirmed. Cinder was very much in an abusive household growing up, but I want to know how she met Salem. Like, that's a thing. We don't know how any of the followers of Salem actually met her. And so I feel like there's also a big step between where this flashback ends and the beginning of Volume 1, you know? And I would like to fill in that a little bit. I think that could give us a bit of a... Well, this is good at fleshing out some of certain elements of Cinder's character. I think seeing that missing section between it all would help flesh her out even more.
It's the hard knock life for us.
I also don't quite understand what's the living situation Cinder's in. Like, did this lady, did the madam, which is, she's madam, did she adopt her? Like, is she her adopted daughter? Or was this like a slave situation? Like, did she buy her for the servitude? It's hard to tell, and I guess it's not really that important. I love the background music during the scene. This, like, ritzy sort of Incredibles vibe. I love it when they play around with different styles. You know, we've been stuck with the Jeff Williams' like hard rock vibe for forever, and the background music usually does a really good job, and this is a nice change of pace and something which we haven't seen before. While we're on the topic of music, I know I don't usually talk about the soundtrack in my videos. It's because when it comes to music, I am stupid. I have very little understanding of what I'm actually talking about. But I do really like this song that we have, this like Cinder song.
You're so slow, you're no good, I hope you know.
I get the feeling I can't wait to get the soundtrack because I want to hear the rest of it. And it's really nice so far. Once again, just like how I'm tired of Jeff Williams' rock aesthetic all the time, it's the same thing with the soundtrack. I would like it when we do something a little stylistically different. That's why This Life Is Mine is one of my favorite songs, because that operatic element to it makes it a lot more interesting compared to the usual that we get, which is not bad necessarily, the usual. It's just, I've heard it already. And this is very different, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
So while I talked about there's some animation weirdness that makes the directing of this episode feel a little sloppy, and it's true. It's mostly with their faces here and there. In the parts where it matters, they do really hit home. Specifically, Cinder getting electrocuted. It looks bad, and it makes me sympathize with her, which is crazy knowing that's the thing I want. I want to understand where my villains come from, and this is a very good episode when it comes to that aspect. A not great aspect is the Hunters' plan for Cinder. Like, I don't know what his idea was. Like, secretly train her for 8 years, 7 or 8 years or something, and then let her, oh, now that you're old enough to move out, you can move out. Well, that's kind of a dumb idea. Why not just take her with you? Or have her run away? Like, you know the living situation she's in, no wonder she snapped by the end of it.
How old are you?
10.
You want to be a huntress.
Aren't you a little young to be attending Beacon?
Ultimately, the thing about this flashback scene, I do really love it. I love seeing tiny baby Cinder. She's so tiny and skinny and small, and it's crazy thinking this tiny little frail girl became the evil badass who stood up against Pyrrha at the end of Volume 3, you know? There's a lot here, and more importantly, I sympathize with her. You know, I feel bad for the situation she was in, but I also it totally makes sense. It's not like a confusing, like, turn, what a twist, she suddenly became evil. No, she was given a shitty life. She was always met with violence. Violence has been the hugest aspect of her life from the very beginning. Whether it was physical violence, both in the form of the madam's electricity, or even just the boys bullying her in that, like, beginning orphanage-looking area, or just manipulative violence. You know, like making her eat the food off the floor, not feeding her enough. The way her stepsisters were treating her and took advantage of her. It's things like that. Like, I totally understand where those aspects influenced her character to become the violent, manipulative person she is now. Because that's literally been the only thing that's ever worked for her in her entire life. Getting angry and then attacking has been the only solution that has worked for her.
Just did a bad thing. I regret the thing I did.
Also, just shout out to Jessica Negri, who's only gotten better and better and better with her vocal performances for Cinder. It helps that she's been given a better script.
But because of you, I am everything.
But no, she's blowing me out of the water. It's amazing.
About that. Salem's got other plans for me. I'm not gonna be taking orders from you anymore.
About time they do something with Mercury. Jesus, fuck, man. I also don't blame him for ditching Cinder, because she has done nothing for him this entire time. I wonder what it is Salem has planned for him, because we don't even know what any of Salem's plans are for any of her generals. So I guess we'll find out. I hope it's something interesting. Mercury fucking needs the character development, my god. No, my little baby. Look at you, you're all banged up. No. So with this scene, it's just, okay, if Hazel wasn't so terribly written, the scene might have been better. It's not the way he's performed, or even just his dialogue, it's his motivations. Like, you killed my sister. It was just like with Cinder's backstory, how it helped flesh her out. Maybe if we got a bit better insight on what exactly killed his sister. Because right now, to me, at least, it just seems like his sister trained to be a huntress, and then she happened to enroll in his academy, and then she happened to die after applying for one of the most deathly jobs on the market. Dumb. It's just dumb.
Bitch! Why are you mad?
Also, why are you not holding, like, got him restrained or something? I'm hoping this gets better. This episode did not impress me with the Oscar subplot. Do I want to count this as an Oscar side story? I don't think so. Not just yet. Maybe a little bit more, because this felt like an Ozpin side story. Of the entire episode, this shit with Oscar and Hazel is definitely the weakest part. So this whole scene, it's a couple of different thoughts going through my head. One is, this shows how good Salem is at manipulating her followers. Yes, she's doing the same thing everyone has always done to Cinder, and is abusing her to get her to follow them, but she's then giving her praise and reward. And a lot of people, when they get abused and stuff, the moment they find someone who actually praises them, even if that person is just as abusive and manipulative, it's that praise that they want, and so they stay loyal to them. I wonder if that's going to happen with Cinder, or, more interestingly, I wonder if Cinder is going to defect from Salem. Whether that'll involve them fighting and one of them dying, I highly doubt it. It would be pretty stupid to kill off both of our main antagonists by having one of them kill the other one. That just wouldn't make any sense to me. So I'm wondering if Cinder's going to run away and do her own thing. Any answer at this point is very, very intriguing and has a lot of potential. Which direction we're actually going to go, I'm not sure. Because especially if the Hound succeeds at this job before Cinder again, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think the finale for Cinder this volume is going to be her versus the Hound. I think she's going to kill the Hound. I think that's what's going to happen.
Did you hear our message? It's right there.
Where's Penny?
You're a bitch.
Well, that's an interesting little development now, isn't it? Suddenly, Alice is no longer protected. It's not the safe haven everyone wants it to be, or everyone is pretending it to be. Oops. I'm really excited for next week, but I'm also a little upset, because after next week, we start a 6-week-long hiatus. And I know it's gonna be a big-ass cliffhanger, and waiting that long is gonna suck.
Oh shit!
I'm glad we finally got some Cinder backstory, and it just makes me hungry for more. I want more. And I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen moving forward, because now we're at kind of like a lull with a lot of our plot points. You know, the Aesops are now with Team Jolly. Are they going to team up? I expect them to, you know. Crow and Robin are still locked up in prison. Oscar is now trapped with the bad guys. Rainbow is still sitting around the Shani Manor. There's a lot of interesting aspects going on, and I think next episode is going to be very, very important in setting up what the second half of this volume is going to be about. This was a good setup episode, and for being set up, I'm glad they filled it out with some much needed character backstory and fleshing out. It's been great. And I guess that's everything I really have to say about this episode. This was a good one. Not much else to say. Shout out to my $10 patrons. You're all amazing. Nako, Michael, James Dodds, Cool Duck, Andrew, Ramiel, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, G Extreme, and Classy Critic. You're all amazing. Let me know in the comments, what did you think about Cinder's backstory? And then what did you think about the rest of the episode? The rest of the episode felt super boring to me compared to Cinder's backstory. Still good, but that was the backstory that I really wanted to see. Any and all thoughts and opinions about this episode or any of the plot points we're seeing or anything in general, tell me what you feel, because I'm excited. I hope you'll be there with me. I hope it could be really, really exciting. There's a lot of different plot points. I don't know where to begin. So, join me next week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.